program. It's based around the concept of accessing capital for small businesses. So we're going to learn how to concurrently generate new non-dues revenue while attracting and retaining membership. Why does this matter? Well, what we hear and read and believe is that most member-based organizations are looking for ways to increase their non-dues revenue and also attract and retain membership. So we certainly can help in both of those regards. Now, affinity programs have proven to be 2 to 3 times more profitable than other programs offered by member-based organizations. Now, affinity programs historically have been offered by chambers, but it can be much more broadly used than that. We have set up recently an affinity program with a co-working space. They can be used with churches, with business organizations, with business associations, even with EDC. So don't think of it narrowly as just chamber-based affinity programming. But ultimately, a successful affinity program can help solve your members' problems and generate literally 6-figure income or more per year. Furthermore, why does this matter? Well, we're administering an innovative but much needed grant subsidized program to help small businesses access capital. And that could be through business credit, which is based upon the EIN alone. It can be based upon SBA loans of a variety types or configurations, 7A, 7A Express, 504, even SBA microloans, and many other sources of capital. We do work with pre-launch, startup, and existing small businesses. So often we'll talk to small business owners and they'll say, well, I'm a startup, there's just no capital available. And that's not true at all. And we'll talk more about that in another slide. Now, access to capital is one of the top, if not the top, concerns of most small business owners. Now, there are other types of affinity offerings of which we don't compete with. Constant Contact has a very successful one. About a decade or so ago, Office Depot was rapidly expanding as an affinity program, different types of communication services, some offerings for workers' comp, health insurance, and so forth. We're not any of those. We don't compete with any of those, but you know what? If that small business doesn't have capital, they can't afford to participate in those others. We're going to solve that underlying issue of making sure that your members and your prospective members have access to capital to be able to start and to grow their organizations. Then they can take advantage of all those other purchase-based opportunities. Now, we have a very credible program. It was put together to solve this problem about access to capital. It was put together with the help and input of current and former SCORE mentors, SBDC advisors, Small Business Development Center, collegiate business faculty, and that's what I do. I'm a business professor, teach financial literacy and small business management, and also with the input of business bankers. The curriculum that we use is based around the award-winning curriculum developed by the FDIC and promoted by the Small Business Administration. We have a strong leadership team that includes Karen Thompson, our general counsel. Again, my name's Thomas Montgomery. I'm a former SCORE mentor, used to work for the SBC, so I see the wonderful things that SCORE and SBDCs do for small businesses, but there's still a big gap, and that is access to capital for most small businesses that don't qualify otherwise. Chuck Vanderbilt, not a loan broker, but truly an SBA lender. And then Aristotle, who heads up our 501c3 nonprofit. He's a veteran, and so he primarily focuses his time and effort working with veteran-based organizations and setting up affinity programs with those organizations. Well, what is it that we do? What is it that ICS, Innovative Capital Strategy, does? Well, we provide TA, which I'll describe in a moment, for pre-launch, startup, and small businesses wanting a capital raise. Now, that capital raise could be through debt, money they borrow, and then agree to pay back. It could be through an equity-based capital raise, helping them get positioned for investor income. TA stands for technical assistance. That's what we provide, the technical assistance. I'll describe more. Because we're going to help small businesses resolve the two key barriers typically that prevents them from accessing capital. Number one, they usually don't know what the right type of capital is for their circumstance. Maybe they go down to the local bank, they apply, and like 9 out of 10 small businesses, they're declined. So they're left with the assumption, oh, I can't get capital. Well, one of two things either happen. Either that wasn't the right type of capital based upon your circumstances, or secondly, you didn't meet the underwriting criteria. So the two things that we do is help identify the right type of capital, and secondly, help them meet the underwriting criteria. So putting together a business plan that's targeted to the end user. One of the most common types of funding that we help clients with is an SBA 7A express loan. Funds in an average of 15 days, up to $150,000 of working capital, 10-year repayment term, so the payments are low, interest rates low. It's available to startups. So when we're putting that package together, the financial projections, the supporting documents, the business plan is targeted specifically to what that lender wants. And I'll tell you, that lender wants a one-page business plan, not some big elaborate 3-ring binder, a one-page business plan. Now, if we're doing an SBA 504 loan to go buy equipment or real estate or to build something, of course, the documentation is different. When we work a lot with small businesses that are just starting up, in some cases, a business plan is not even needed. There's other elements that are most important, like a personal financial statement. So we provide the TA, the technical assistance, and help them identify the right type of capital for their circumstance, and secondly, meet the underwriting criteria. Now, we back it up in a big way. We guarantee at least $100,000 capital raise for every small business. Sounds too good to be true, doesn't it? But remember, there's many different sources of capital, one of which is business credit based upon the EIN alone. Even if that small business owner has poor personal credit and other credibility issues, we can always access capital off of the EIN through business credit building. That's our secret sauce. That's why we can make such a guarantee. We do not compete with local banks and credit unions from your community that may, or even maybe on your board or members of your organization. We provide the TA, the technical assistance. We're not the lender. They could refer us. They're disqualified borrowers. We help them meet the underwriting criteria and get them back. So why should we collaborate? What's the bottom line, right? Well, many member-based organizations offer affinity offerings. We're not the pioneers of an affinity program relationship. Constant Contact is in use by over 2,000 chambers, for example, and 54% of chambers currently report that they offer an office supply discount program, for example. Now, of those affinity programs, it's not unusual for chambers to report over $1,000 of revenue per member from the non-dues revenue stream. So a pretty big deal, especially looking at in contrast to how much a member pays, how much revenue can be generated while helping the member, right? While generating value for them. So certainly affinity-based programs are proven. Our programming is credible and proven. We're a member of the Better Business Bureau, an accredited member, which I failed to mention on the prior slide. So what we're doing makes sense in that regard. Secondly, there is no cost to participate. Third, it's not going to be time consuming for your staff, and we'll work together to put together a marketing plan for promotion and outreach that could include content for email blast or for your website, press releases, and so forth. And then we're educators at heart, and so we have a really, really strong business financial literacy educational curriculum. And as I mentioned, we use a lot of the FDIC and SBA's curriculum, award winning. So we can come out and teach this curriculum through the program live, or we can do it via webinar, whichever you prefer, whatever's best for your membership. But the bottom line is we address an unmet need in the marketplace, and we have a very lucrative revenue share model for your organization to benefit from, and we have great tracking as well. So next steps, simply 3 next steps. Number 1, we'd love for you to go to our website, which is featured here on the screen, click on the Contact Us page, scroll down just a bit, and on the left, you'll see a YouTube video. It's called Access to Capital. That is our educational message that we usually lead with for the end user to explain who it is that we help, what we do, and how we would go about it. So we would ask you to watch that Access to Capital workshop. Hopefully we'll have an opportunity to come out and present it live or online to your membership. But start with that so you understand at a deeper level who we are and what we do. And then secondly, on that same page, so the bottom left is the YouTube embedded video. Bottom right is a Contact Us form. So go ahead and fill that out and request the Affinity proposal. So we have a written, concise Affinity proposal that we'll send to you, and it would be the language of how we would work together. You can review that, and then we'll follow up with you, and we'll schedule a 3-way call. We'll determine if we're a good fit for you and if you're a good fit for us, and if so, then we'll turn around and send you a DocuSign version of that same Affinity proposal so we can actually execute it and implement it. 3 simple steps. Educate yourself a little bit more using the link, the embedded YouTube on the link site. Number 2, request an Affinity proposal so we can get that to you so you can see the black and white of how we propose to work together. And then we'll schedule a call, answer your questions, and see if we're a good fit for one another. With that, thank you for your time. We spent about 15 minutes together. I hope it was worthwhile for you. We certainly are looking forward to building a successful Affinity program with your organization. Thank you and have a great day.